Hi, this is Esther Kane with SeniorSafetyAdvice.com. I hope you're having a great day. Today's video is going to be about some signs to look for that may indicate that it's time for you or a senior loved one to begin thinking about, is an assisted living facility right for me? All right, so before we get into that, click the subscribe button. We appreciate each and every one of our subscribers, and the like button and the bell if you want to get notified about any new videos that come out, which we put them out twice a month. All right, so the reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because my very sweet mom-in-law is 100 years old, and she is just now moving into an independent living facility slash assisted living facility. So some places are combined like that, some places are separate. And the reason that she's doing that is because from her perspective, she's looking for a place to be where she can go to activities and events that are all in the same building. Right now she lives in a condominium, and in order to get to the clubhouse, she has to either take the community bus to get there or drive there herself. And at 100, that's not necessarily the safest thing to do. So, but from her children's perspective, it's really to keep her safer. She does use a walker, but she has some trouble walking long distances. She gets tired very, very easily. She can't prepare full-blown meals, although she can prepare very simple meals. She does do all her own bathing and showering and all of that stuff. So as far as her ADLs, her activities of daily living, she still does very well. But she's getting to the point at 100 years old that she needs some help. So she has decided herself that it's time to move to a facility where she can get some care if she needs it immediately. She has fallen 3 or 4 times, so it's important that she have someone available nearby to get to her quickly. All right, so that's why I wanted to start talking about this. We do have an article on our website about the signs that it may be time for assisted living. And of course, in the description below, I'll have the link to that article. But there are basically 13 signs that you can look for. And if you're honest with yourself and you answer these honestly, then you'll have an idea if it may be a good solution for you or the right time for you. So number 1 is if you notice that there's a change in behavior. Now this you would probably notice in a senior loved one. If you notice that they're becoming more agitated, not able to handle situations very well, if they're crying more often, or they're just not dealing with the situation of managing their own home very well, flying off the handle, anything like that, that may be a sign that the environment that they're living in is just becoming too overwhelming and too difficult for them. So I would say look at that. That's number 1. Number 2, if they have trouble bathing or showering themselves, or are having problems getting in and out of the bathtub or the shower, even if they are physically able to do it, but they're doing it extremely slowly or cautiously, or they tend to stumble or trip a little but not necessarily fall, anything that may seem like this is becoming difficult, because the truth is that it's only going to become more difficult. So if it's starting now, why wait for an injury to happen before you do the right thing, get some help? All right, so number 3, if they forget or they're just not able to groom themselves anymore, if you notice that their hair isn't combed properly or combed at all, if they're not brushing their teeth or forgetting to brush their teeth, if they're not using lotion like they normally would or makeup like they normally would, if they're not dressing well, or just having trouble with those kinds of things. My mother had trouble near the end, putting on some compression stockings and pants, and she just had a very difficult time. So we knew that at that point she needed more help. So either you get someone in to help them, or you look at an assisted living facility that may be able to provide that kind of help. Number 4, if they have a recent history of falling, if they begin falling, which is usually precursored by having trouble of getting up from a chair or getting out of bed, anything like that, and then they tend to fall. Not that they're just walking and then they just fall, although that could happen. But, if they have clutter around their house and they don't notice the clutter, or they don't realize that clutter can help to trip them, anything that can cause them to fall or that they are falling is definitely a sign that it's time that they get in-house help, or begin thinking about looking at an assisted living type of facility that they can move to, so that they can have eyes on them and take care of them immediately versus hours or days later. If they're taking number 5 is if they're taking a very long time to get dressed or to get ready for the day. My mom-in-law at 100 takes her about 3 hours to take a shower, to get dressed, and to get ready for any event that she wants to go to. So she does it all herself, but it takes her an extremely long time, and she gets very tired in between the activities, so she has to rest. So if this is taking a very long time, it may be that they're expending too much energy just trying to do these simple tasks, and then they'll be tired most of the rest of the day. So it may be that they just need some help, even if it's just to pull things out of the closet for them, or to help them with more difficult things like compression stockings, anything like that. That is definitely a sign that some extra added help is needed for that particular person, or for yourself if this is for yourself. All right, number 6. If you aren't eating well because you forget to eat, or you're having trouble preparing meals for yourself, or you can't remember how to use the microwave, or you're not able to go grocery shopping to get meals into your home. And it's very difficult to do online shopping when you're older, and for whatever reason you're not getting food in the house, or the food that you have in the house, it's sitting there for a long time and it's spoiling. You're getting stomach problems. All kinds of things can continue happening if you aren't nourishing yourself. And if you're not nourishing yourself properly, then you're only going to get more tired, you're not going to feel well, your medications may not work as well. So there's a whole domino series of events that could occur simply because you're not getting the proper nourishment. So if that's happening, if you notice that that's happening and you can't find a solution for that, then it may be time to consider an assisted living. Number 7, if you're having trouble toileting, or just not doing it very well, you're not cleaning yourself well, your clothing is stained, your furniture may be stained, or you're having trouble toileting because you're not eating well, anything like that, you're having trouble getting to the bathroom or getting there in time, anything around that issue of toileting, if it's difficult, then it's certainly time to get some type of help, either in home, or consider moving to some place that can help you with that. I know it's very difficult to consider or even think about that, not only for the senior, but also for families as well. But the truth is that if that isn't addressed before anything happens, then something will happen to force the issue. So you want to make the decision when you're capable and when you're calm, instead of when you go to the hospital, you go to rehab, and they declare that you can't go home and live alone anymore, and all of a sudden your entire world is shifted and changed. So you want to have as much control over the decision as possible. So look for these signs so that you can make the decision sooner rather than later. All right, number 8, if you're having trouble with your mobility. Okay, yes, my mom-in-law uses a walker, and she uses a walker throughout the house, but it takes her a very long time to walk maybe 20 feet. And by that time, she's absolutely exhausted. So, even though she can physically do it, And she does stumble and waver a bit. So yes, there is that fear of her falling. So although her mobility is functional, it still is not necessarily safe. It would be much safer if she had someone there with her to help her and to be there in case she were to stumble and fall. And this is especially true when she's getting up from the bed and when she's getting up and down from the sofa. That is when she has had her falls. All right, number 9. If you're suffering from any kind of chronic medical condition that's only going to get worse, I'm talking about things like COPD or any type of cardiac or dementia or Alzheimer's. Those issues don't usually get better. They usually get worse, especially dementia and Alzheimer's. So, waiting for the inevitable to happen is not necessarily the smartest thing to do. I would highly recommend that you start looking for a place that can help to take care of you. That way you have the decision and the choice of where to go versus having to scramble for a last minute thing. Another note I want to make is that my mom-in-law has been looking for a couple of months now for a place to go. And she's in South Florida where there are many types of these facilities. And almost every single one that she went to has had a waiting list. So even though you find a facility that you may like, you may have to end up on a waiting list. So it's not always you just find it and you go in. You may have to wait. So that's why it's better to make the decision earlier versus later. All right. Number 10, if you're having difficulty managing your medication, if you're forgetting it or mixing it up. My mom did that a few times. She would take her nighttime medicine in the morning and then, and then forget to take the medicine at night at all. And things were just getting all mixed up, even though they were laid out, for her, easy to follow. But she was having a difficult time with that. So if you're having trouble with that, that can cause a lot of problems as well if you're not taking the medication as you're supposed to. So I would definitely recommend that be taken care of by someone, or move someplace that can do that for you. If you find that you or your senior loved one is leaving the house less and less, it may be because you have trouble walking outside, or you have a fear of falling outside, or you just don't have any interest for anything that's outside, or you feel very, very safe in your home. Or, my mom-in-law calls it her cocoon, where she's nice and safe, but lonely. So if you find that you or senior loved one is just staying home more and more, that may definitely be a sign that it's time to start looking for something that can help to stimulate them cognitively, physically, that can help to alleviate the loneliness and isolation, because that again only gets worse, leads to some major depression, which can lead to a plethora of other issues that you don't necessarily want to bestow on anybody, not even the family. All right, number 12. If you notice that the house is a mess, but things aren't getting picked up, and this is only if it's an unusual activity. I mean, if your mom or dad always kept the house a mess, well, then it's nothing unusual. But if they tended to keep the house clean and neat and all of that, now all of a sudden you see all kinds of papers on the coffee table and bread and butter on the kitchen countertop that hasn't been put away, and the beds are unmade and laundry is piling up. If you see those kinds of things, it could be a cognitive or physical issue that's causing them. But either way, it's a sign that basically they're needing more help than what they're usually admitting to. So that is definitely a sign that some more assistance is required. And number 13, the final one, is if the living conditions in the home are unsafe. I just got an email from someone who says that her mom is living in a house that is been declared unsafe because the roof has been needing repair and it's leaking. The gutters are halfway on, halfway off. The doors are all rotted out on the bottom. There's electrical issues in the house and plumbing issues, simply because her mom hasn't been able to maintain the house for a very long time, for many years, and the house has fallen apart. So if you're living in an unsafe condition, if your senior loved one is living in an unsafe condition, then it's definitely time to consider getting out, moving on, and getting to some place that is safer, cleaner, and that you can be taken care of, because you deserve it, right? So anyway, so those are the 13 signs that it may be time to consider looking at an assisted living facility. My mom-in-law will be moving to hers the end of October, the end of this month. So I am excited to go and see what her new pad will be like. And she's a fireball, so I think that the residents there are going to love having her. All right, if you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. We answer each and every single one. And I am grateful for you for watching the video. Again, click on the subscribe button if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the like button if you like the video, and of course, the bell to be notified of any new videos coming up. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.